Sushruta for NEET is now available on the Google Play Store. Try it out for free.
Hearty welcome to biology classes. I am Professor G.K. Bhatt. So, in this chapter, we shall take up reproductive health. Right? Having studied human reproduction, it is appropriate to know a little bit more of this human reproduction, what we call as the chapter reproductive health. What is meant by this? The term simply refers to healthy reproductive organs with a normal function. What do you mean by reproductive health? Is it that it is only concerned with the reproductive organ? If you look into that, there are reproductive organs, say testis in case of male, female in case of, ovary in case of female. If these primary sex organ, they are called primary sex organ. Primary sex organ of a male is called testis and not penis. Generally, you write in answer penis. Primary sexual organ in case of female is ovary and not vagina. So, having simply the healthy reproductive organ or perfect reproductive organ does not mean that one possesses good reproductive health. It should function normally. So, reproductive health, if it is asked in one more question, reproductive health means it is possessing healthy reproductive organs with normal function. However, it has a broader perspective and it includes emotional and social aspects of reproduction also. What is this emotional and social aspects? We shall see. According to WHO, WHO is the abbreviation of World Health Organization. Sometimes it will be asked, what is full form of WHO? Reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. Total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. Physical, emotional, behavioral, social.
Sir, 1 second. Sir.
Yeah?
Sir, I think we have not done the parturition and lactation in the last lesson, sir.
Which one?
Parturition and then the lactation.
Sure, we finished.
Yeah? Pardon?
So
Repeat?
he's telling that we have not finished parturition and lactation of the previous chapter. Everything is done, sir.
Yeah, it is done. It is done. Anyhow, I am going to add to that later. It is done. I know.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. So, now coming back to this. Now, what do you mean by physical, emotional, behavioral, social? This is very important. This is a definition with regard to according to World Health Organization, reproductive health means it is a good physical health, emotionally a person should be perfect, behavioral also it should be perfect, and socially. Now, you are reading many times, father raping his own daughter, father marrying his own daughter, mother marrying her own son. Do you consider that it is a perfect reproductive health? If at all, a father gets into sexual contact with a daughter, no, we cannot consider that it is a good reproductive health. So he should be perfect in possessing the reproductive organ, perfect reproductive organ, say penis and the vagina. Emotionally also he should be perfect. Behavioral also he should be perfect. Social also he should be perfect. If at all, a boy stands in the corridor And every day, whenever a girl moves in the corridor, if at all, every day, if at all he is teasing that girl, that means he is a socially not perfect man. So, according to World Health Organization, the reproductive health means total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. So, this definition is very important for the board examination. What is reproductive health? Define reproductive health. So, you have to quote what this WHO says with regard to reproductive health. Therefore, a society with people having physically, functionally normal reproductive organs and normal emotional, behavioral interactions among them in all sex-related aspects might be called reproductive healthy. And it is said that in one of the newspaper it was quoted, when someone is moving in the car or auto, the driver showed his sexual organ to the passenger whom he was carrying in the auto. He showed his genital organ to the lady. It is what we say, behaviorally he is doing something unwarranted. Why is it significant to maintain reproductive health? What are the methods taken up to achieve it? That we are going to study now. India was among the first countries in the world to initiate action plans and programs at a national level to attain total reproductive health as a social goal. Remember, first country in the world, India. Among the first countries in the world, because in 1951, family planning got introduced. Very important. Always ask a question. When the family planning was introduced, initiated in India, it is 1951. I hope you are taking down these points, listening carefully, each and every point. At the end of the class, I am going to ask some questions. So, family planning was initiated in 1951. Prior to that, in India, people were not aware of all these methods which are involved in the family planning. Your condoms or your oral pills, all these were not available. You might not have heard about whatever you come across for family planning, introduced into the vagina, kept inside uterus, uterine devices. Improved programs covering wider reproduction-related areas are currently in operation under the popular name Reproductive and Child Health Care. Always ask her, what is the full form of RCH? Reproductive and Child Health Care. Right? Now, let us look into this. Creating awareness among people about various reproduction-related aspects and providing facilities and support for building up a reproductively healthy society are the major task of this program. Whatever family planning program was introduced, what is the major task of that? Creating awareness among the people about various reproduction-related aspects. You know, just prior to family planning in India, people used to think that getting the baby, having the baby, or one lady becoming pregnant is the wish of the God. If the God wishes, one will become pregnant. If the God is angry, she will not become pregnant. Is it true? Is it true, Prithviraj? Is it true, Rathod?
No, sir.
No. You know, it is in the hand of human beings. Creating awareness is very important. Is it not that now also some people go to temple and offer special prayer to get to the babies, to get to the children? Many of these childless couple offer one or the other type of prayer to the God, believing that it is the God's will or it is the God's blessings that makes one to have these children. So we have to create awareness among the people with about various reproduction related aspects and providing facilities and support for building up reproductively healthy society. Let us see what are they. With the help of audio visual and print media, governmental and non-governmental agencies have taken various steps to create awareness among the people about the reproduction related aspects. Now lot of advertisements come with regard to what all the devices are available for the family planning. Condoms, Nirod, oral pills, intrauterine devices. With regard to all these, you come across audio visual, that print media, all these clips you are coming across, and these are put by governmental and non-governmental agencies. It is just to create awareness. If you don't want children, go for using these condoms or Nirod, or one can go for the oral pills. Parents, other close relatives, teachers, and friends also have a major role in the dissemination of the above information. Now you may ask the question, see here, parents, other close relatives of this that couple, teachers, and friends also have a major role in the dissemination of the above information. That means I am doing the role as a teacher. Now you may ask the question, why that we are taught this to us, sir? Right? Why we are taught, Kumar Rathod?
Yes, sir.
Why this topic is taught to you now? Any answer? Pratyuraj, Diti, Rakesh?
For providing
Why?
us the proper information about the sexual related aspects.
Yeah, it is just. Of course, you may have to wait for another 10 years to get married, or 6 years, Diti, to get married. But
No, sir,
what-
nothing like that.
Pardon?
I don't know, sir, nothing like that.
No, the thing is that what I'm telling, even though you have another couple of years to go to get married, one should be aware of reproductive related matter. Therefore, you are going to study about a certain aspect about this reproductive related matter or reproductive health. Right? So, introduction of sex education in the schools should also be encouraged to provide right information to the young. We are providing that right information to the young so as to discourage children from believing in myths and having misconceptions about sex-related aspects. If at all I say, if at all I give you some information with regard to this, what are this, sir? Why that sex education in school should also be encouraged? Sex education, when I was doing MSc, not POC, not BSc, when I was doing MSc, we never studied any sex organs related to human being. At the maximum, in our textbooks, in whatever books that we used to refer, we were taught reproductive system in a rat, reproductive system in a rabbit, and not reproductive system in human beings. If at all at your age, if I start looking into the book with the human reproductive system, with the penis and all, I would have been kicked out from my home by my father. I would have been kicked out. What are you doing? Now you are asked, draw a neat labeled diagram of male reproductive system of human or human female reproductive system. I hope you understand my point. Know the difference? When we were students, we never had this education. But later, the government felt that, yes, we have to provide sex education in the school. I think now 6th standard, 7th standard textbooks give some diagram pertaining to human reproductive system. So you are asking the examination to write a neat labeled diagram of the male reproductive system, human female reproductive system. Introduction of sex education schools should also be encouraged. It is encouraged now to provide why right information to the young so as to discourage children from believing in the myths. What is that myth? You know, in the 1960s, one survey was done. And this survey was done in one of the women's college. It was a taught subject BA, arts, commerce subject. And in that survey, more than 60% of the students at that time in that survey believed that kissing of a girl by a boy or touching of the breast of a girl by a boy results in a pregnancy. You may laugh at me now. What, sir? What you are telling? Yes, that means these are the myths. This is what I'm telling is the myths. Okay. Or if at all you feel that just by praying the God, we get to the children, it is also a myth. To get to the baby, one should get into sexual contact, or some misconception. This is what some misconception, what I've said. Touching of the breast makes the girl to get pregnant, or kissing makes the girl to get pregnant. These are all misconceptions. And miss is, as I said, doing some prayer, offering some puja. That makes you to makes one to get children. That is also the myth. I hope you understood this point. Prithviraj, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Proper information about the reproductive organs, adolescence. Adolescence is your age. You are at the end of the adolescence. Okay, adolescence and related changes. Adolescence and related changes. Whenever a boy or girl starts attaining maturity, you see that in case of boys, the mustache starts growing, the beard starts appearing, his voice changes. In case of girls, breast enlargement is there, and you come across this menarche and all. Then, safe and hygienic sexual practices. Safe and hygienic sexual practices, and knowledge about the sexually transmitted diseases, what is called STD, AIDS, etc., would help people, especially those in the adolescent age group, to lead a reproductively healthy life. So, not that we are expecting adolescent age group to get into sexual activity. Okay? What is the age you to get married? Hello? Kumar, how many years you have to wait for boys? What is the age?
21.
21. Prithviraj?
Yes, sir.
For girls? Duty? For girls?
Sir, 18.
18. See how that you know this? Both of you know this? Yeah. So, you are not supposed to get married up to 21 of year in boys and 18 year with girls. You ask your grandma, Dutye, they have any idea at what age your grandmother might have got married? Or her mother? Any idea?
Sir, I guess around 18 or 19 only, sir.
Yeah, not 18. 18 is your age. Now it is permitted age.
Oh, they're around 16 or something, sir.
No, you ask today itself your mom, or let she ask her, let she find out from her mother.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it is around 12 or 13th year earlier the girls used to get married. Even remember some of the girls used to get married prior to prior to getting what? Prior to getting menarche.
Menarche.
They used to get married, and these girls were sent back to their home, mother's place, and only after she gets a menarche, she used to be sent to her husband's home. Understood? Many girls used to get married before getting menarche. Even before getting the puberty, they used to get married. And later, they used to get into sexual contact once this girl used to get a menarche. And you know, menarche, I have told in my last class, at the age of 10 years, that is the 10th birthday or 11th birthday, a girl generally used to get the first cycle at menarche. So, even at adolescent age, one should know, yes, these are things you are supposed to do, these are things you are not supposed to do. That is why this knowledge is given. Okay, it is only theoretical knowledge you are getting now, right? And practical knowledge you'll get once you get married. Educating people, especially fertile couples. You know, couples need not be always fertile. There are some infertile couples, even after having a sexual cohabitation, they may not get the children. Educating people, especially fertile couples, and those in the marriageable age group about available birth control option, care of pregnant mothers, postnatal care. Postnatal care means, postnatal means after the birth of the baby. It is during lactation period. Postnatal care of a mother. Prenatal means before the birth of the baby. Postnatal means after the birth of the baby. Postnatal care of the mother and child. Importance of breastfeeding. Equal opportunities for the male and the female child, etc. would address the importance of bringing up socially conscious, healthy families of desired size. So, these are all important. Now, I am not giving much importance to all these points. So, you must know these are all introductory, and straight away, I am now for a few of these sentences, straight away will go, and I will start where exactly you have to know this particular chapter a little bit more. Right? Awareness of problems due to uncontrolled population growth. Uncontrolled population growth means without family planning. What will be the problem? If at all one couple has too many children, how to give education to them? How to feed them? Awareness of problems due to uncontrolled population growth. Social events like sex abuse, sex-related crimes, etc. need to be created to enable people to think and take up necessary steps to prevent them and thereby build up a socially responsible and healthy society. Successful implementation of various action plans to attain reproductive health requires a strong infrastructure facilities, professional expertise, and material support. These are essential to provide medical assistance and care to people in reproduction-related problems like pregnancy, delivery, STDs, abortions, contraception, menstrual problems, infertility, etc., etc. We are going to study all these in detail in the coming classes. Implementation of better techniques and new strategies from time to time are also required to provide more efficient care and assistance to people. As I requested, you must always sit in my class with the NCERT book beside you. Statutory ban on amniocentesis. You must know, always ask a question. What is amniocentesis? So, if at all you feel that I am going a little bit fast, you can have this screenshot of this. Statutory ban on amniocentesis. What is that amniocentesis? Always ask a question. Define amniocentesis. What is amniocentesis? A fetal sex determination test based on the chromosomal pattern in the amniotic fluid surrounding the developing embryo. In fact, it enables one to know the chromosomal structure, but it is followed, a fetal sex determination. In fact, it is not meant for that. The amniocentesis is just to enable us to study the chromosomal structure of the fetus. That is a good technique. But unfortunately, amniocentesis, what is I'm telling? Ban on amniocentesis. Ban, it is not a ban, it is not amniocentesis, the procedure is bad, but using this amniocentesis a technique to know the sex of the fetus is not good. That is the ban. Statutory ban on amniocentesis. That is a fetal sex determination test based on chromosomal pattern in amniotic fluid surrounding the developing embryo for sex determination to legally check increasing female feticide, massive child immunization, etc. are some programs that merit mention in this connection. I will tell about amniocentesis again later. But remember, amniocentesis, if at all you are asked, what is amniocentesis? Amniocentesis is a technique which enables us to know the chromosomal structure of the fetus. And if at all the chromosomes are found to be deformed, with abnormalities, then it is good one should get such a fetus aborted. Otherwise, no. But unfortunately, amniocentesis is misused to know the sex of the fetus. What is done in this? Remember, in the amniocentesis, they are trying to find out one dark body. During amniocentesis, it is tested to find out one dark body. And this dark body is called Barr body. It is called Barr body. After the discoverer, Barr body. This Barr body, dark body, Barr body is nothing but, inactive X chromosome. Inactive X chromosome. I'll tell you about this Barr body. I'll tell you about this inactive X chromosome later. But remember, in amniocentesis, a dark body called Barr body is searched for, which is nothing but inactive X chromosome. Inactive X chromosome. If there is one Barr body, the fetus is considered as a female. If there is no Barr body, the fetus is the male. I hope you understand, Prathviraj.
Yes,
One
sir.
Barr body, fetus is female. No Barr body, fetus is male. What is Barr body? It is nothing but inactive X chromosome. Is it clear, Kumar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us look further. This is what here. We can have the screenshot of this. Amniocentesis, also referred to as amniotic fluid test or AFT, is a medical procedure used in a prenatal diagnosis. Prenatal, prior to birth of the baby, prenatal diagnosis of chromosomal abnormalities and fetal infections, and also used for sex determination, in which a small amount of amniotic fluid which contains fetal tissue is sampled from the amniotic sac surrounding a developing fetus, and the fetal DNA is examined for genetic abnormalities. The most common reason to have an amnio is to determine whether a baby has certain genetic disorder or chromosomal abnormality, such as a Down syndrome. Now, if at all, then of course, I will tell you about Down syndrome later. In Down syndrome individual, instead of 46 chromosome, there will be 47 chromosome. Chromosome number 21 is always found to be in 3 copies. It will be one more. So that again, we shall study that later. We are going to study this under genetics, but this is what you have, the amniocentesis. I have taken the screenshot, right? And later, after taking the screenshot, you have to write down it in your notes. Shall I go ahead? Prathviraj?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, amniocentesis is another procedure called Cohen killer sampling. Can diagnose these problems in the womb. This is important. Amniocentesis. Actually, what is amniocentesis? In amniocentesis, actually, with the syringe from the amnion, I have showed you in the last class during human reproduction, amniotic fluid surrounding that of the fetus present inside the womb. You know, fetus is surrounded by amnion, and between the fetus and amnion cover, there is a fluid called amniotic fluid. So, to the amniotic fluid, through the syringe, the amniotic fluid is sucked, and this amniotic fluid is cultured and studied for the chromosomal deformities. Okay? So, amniocentesis is usually done when a woman is between 14 to 16 weeks pregnant. Prior to 14, after 16 is not good. Women who choose to have this test are primarily those at increased risk for genetic or chromosomal problem, in part because the test is invasive and carries a small risk of miscarriage. Developed by Richard Dedrick, this process can be used for prenatal sex determination, and this procedure has a legal restriction in some countries. Look here, this is what is done. To the syringe, the amniotic fluid is taken. Later, it is centrifuged, it is cultured, and after culturing, that you know that whatever the cells they get at the bottom, the fluid will be there on the top. The fluid is studied for the composition in that, and cells are studied for the chromosomal diversity, karyotype, sex determination, biochemical recombination studies. And later they are cultured, and they are cultured for making biochemical studies, chromosomal analysis, etc. Okay, that is about amino studies. Research on various reproduction-related areas are encouraged and supported by governmental and non-governmental agencies to find out new methods and or to improve upon the existing one. Do you know Saheli? Always ask in examination. Remember, what is Saheli? Saheli, a new oral contraceptive for the female, was developed by scientists at the Central Drug Research Institute, CDRI, in Lucknow. Right? So always ask a question. Saheli is a non-steroid. You just take down there. Saheli, a oral contraceptive, and this has very good reputation as it is a non-steroidal. Always ask a question. Which is a non-steroidal pill? It is a non-steroidal contraceptive, and what you have to know, it is developed by our own scientists at the CDRA, Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow. Please remember this sentence very much. Better awareness about sex-related matters, increase the number of medical assisted deliveries, and better postnatal care, leading to decreased maternal and infant mortality rate. So, maternal and infant mortality rate. Do you know what is this mortality rate? Jyoti, you know the meaning of this? Mortality
The
rate.
death rate.
Death rate, correct. What is the opposite to this? Rakesh? What is the opposite term to this mortality? Prithviraj?
Birth rates.
No, the birth rate. What is the term? Birth rate, death rate. Mortality opposite is natality. Natality means birth rate. Natality, birth rate. So, decreased maternal and infant mortality rate, increase the number of couples with the small families, better detection and cure of STDs, sexually transmitted disease. We are going to study that separately later. And overall increase of medical facilities for all sex-related problems, etc. all indicate improved reproductive health of the society. Right? Now, let us study this. Population explosion and birth control. In the last century, and all around development in various fields significantly improved the quality of life of the people. Yes? Now, people, healthily, they live up to the age of 82, 92, like that. However, increased health facilities along with the better living conditions had an explosive impact on the growth of population. The world population, all this you must remember by heart. The world population, which was around 2 billion, that is to 2,000 million in 1900, rocketed to about 6 billions by 2000. By 2000. This is in 1900. It is in 2000. Okay, in 100 years. A similar trend was observed in India also. Our population, which was approximately 350 million at the time of our independence, that is in 1947, reached close to the billion mark from 350 million to 1,000 million by 2000 and crossed 1 billion in May 2000. That means every 6th person in the world is an Indian. Right? Remember these all figures? Now, a rapid decline in the death rate, as I told you. Now people live with good health up to 90 plus. A rapid decline in the death rate. Maternal mortality rate, what we call MMR. You'll be asked, what is the full form of MMR in a board examination? What is the full form of MMR? Maternal mortality rate. IMR, infant mortality rate. I hope you know, infant is a word that we use for the babies below the age of 6 months. Below the age of 6 months. 6 months. The babies below or lower to 6 months of age are always called infant. Infant mortality rate as well as an increase in number of people in a reproducible age are probable reasons for this. Right? Through our RCH. What is RCH?
Reproductive child care.
Child Health Program. Through our RCH program, though we could bring down population growth rate, it was only marginal. We could not bring to the expected level. According to 2001 census report, the population growth rate was still around 1.7%, that is 17 out of 1,000 per year, a rate at which our population could double in 33 years. Such an alarming growth rate could lead to an absolute scarcity of even the basic requirements, that is food, shelter, clothing, in spite of significant progress made in those areas. Therefore, the government was forced to take up serious measures to check this population growth rate. Okay. Now, the most important step to overcome this problem is to motivate smaller families by using various contraceptive methods. You might have seen advertisement in media, as well as in poster or bills, etc., showing a happy couple with the two children with the slogan, Hum do, hamare do. Hum do, hamare do. We are two and our two children. That is very fine. Many couples, mostly the young, urban, working ones, have even adopted and one child norm. We two, our one. Only one child norm. That's also good. Okay. Now, statutory raising of a marriageable age of the female to 18 years and that of males to 21 years and incentives given to couple with the small families are two of the other measures taken to tackle this problem. Do you know what is this? Marriage, of course, you understand. Statutory raising of marriageable age. Even if you are told you want to marry, you cannot marry. Am I right, Rakesh? Am I right, Pratiraj? Am I right, Kumar? Am I right, Diti? You cannot marry
Yes, sir.
because there is age restriction. This age restriction was not there for your grandma, grandpa. They are lucky fellows, you know. And incentives given to couple. You know what is this incentives to given to couple? You know, if at all anyone is in a government service, anyone in the government service, is there anyone in the government service? Your parents are in government service, central or state? Kumar,
Yes, sir.
your father is in government service or
No,
Prithviraj
sir.
or
No, sir.
Rakesh, Diti?
Yes, sir.
Don't. Yeah, who is that in government service?
Rakesh, my father, sir.
Rakesh, your father. You just ask your father. You know, if they undergo family planning, please, family planning, if they undergo family planning and they produce the certificate, they'll get increment in their salary. There will be increment. So if at all they show the certificate after two children, after getting two children, they should show the certificate that they have undergone the family planning. Mother can undergo or father, any one of them. If they show the certificate, there will be raise in their salary. What you call raise in the salary? We call it increment. If at all they get 1,000 rupees every year in their salary hike, by showing this certificate, they get that immediately, one hike. Or if at all they show the certificate with only one baby, one child, after that they undergo family planning, if they show the certificate, they'll get a double increment. Okay, this is what incentives given to couple with the small families. Let us describe some of the commonly used contraceptive methods which help prevent unwanted pregnancies. Okay, any doubts so far? Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
Yes? Boys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. An ideal contraceptive should be user-friendly, easily available, effective, and reversible with no or least side effects. Easily available, user-friendly. When they want, they'll put. If they don't want, or after this, they throw it. Easily available. One should not feel it very difficult to find out, to get it. Effective it is. Reversible, with or no least, with no or least side effects. It also should in no way interfere with the sexual drive, desire, and or the sexual act of the user. So even after using that one should get the pleasure. One should get the sexual pleasure. A wide range of contraceptive methods are presently available, which could be broadly grouped into the following categories, namely natural or traditional, barrier, IUDs, oral contraceptives, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. So sometimes you may be asked for 2 marks question, which are the different contraceptive methods presently available. You must know the presently available contraceptive methods. Contraceptive methods are the methods which take care that the user will not get the unwanted baby. So it prevents the woman from getting pregnant or become pregnant. Say, wide range of contraceptive methods are presently available, which are called natural or traditional, barrier, IUDs, oral contraceptives, injectables, implants, surgical methods. All these we are going to study one by one in today's class. Coming to the natural method. The natural method is also known as a calendar method. I will tell that and I will give a little bit more information later. Calendar method. Calendar method. Okay. Natural methods or calendar methods. Calendar method work on the principle of avoiding chances of ovum and sperms meeting. Sperms meeting. Okay. Periodic abstinence. Periodic abstinence is one such method in which couples avoid or abstain. Abstain means not doing anything. Not doing. Abstain. Without doing. Abstain from coitus. You know, we have the term. I think I have told you on the other day. What are the terms we come across? Coitus, also known as
Meeting.
Intercourse.
mating,
Intercourse.
also known as
Intercourse.
intercourse, also known as coitus. So coitus, mating, intercourse, also known as
Copulation.
Copulation.
all these are one and same. So one should not get involved in this. Abstain. Abstain means remaining without getting in. Without involved in coitus, mating, intercourse, copulation from day 10 to day 17 of the menstrual cycle, with when ovulation could be expected. This is called periodic abstinence. Periodic abstinence. Is it there in your NCERT book or no?
There, sir.
It is there?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
are keeping the NCERT book with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So this is what you have, right? Yeah, as chances of fertilization is very high during this period, it is called fertile period. Okay. So you know what happens in between this? What happens on which day? Diti?
Yes, sir.
What happens in these days in case of female? In between on some day, something happens, you know. What happens?
Ovulation.
Oh,
When?
14th day.
14th day.
So, as the chances of fertilization are very high during this period, it is called fertile period. Therefore, by abstaining from coitus, that is, by remaining without contact sexually, without sexual contact with the partner during this period, conception could be prevented. Conception means actually becoming pregnant. I have told you, conception is nothing but implantation. Becoming a pregnant can be prevented, right? Now let us say this is what you know. This of course it is shown 30-day cycle. You can think about a 28-day cycle. So first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These days are actually probably infertile. It is said that means if at all a man comes in contact with a woman during these days, that woman will not get pregnant. So these first 3-4 days, you know, it is a menstruation. There will be bleeding from the vagina. So it extends up to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. In these days, if at all a man and woman comes in contact sexually, it is actually it is that a woman will not get pregnant because there will not be any ova there during this time. Ova gets released on 14th day. So therefore, this is called infertile. Infertile. I tell you, why we have used the term probably. Nobody can guarantee you 100% that there will not be fertilization at all. So this period is referred to as the dry days. Most of the time, mostly, a girl a woman at that time will not get fertilized. She will not get pregnant. But You know, 14th day is generally ovulation day. In most of the cases, ovulation day. So, therefore, to be on the safer side. Now, if the sperm has come here, plus remember, the sperm can remain alive in the female reproductive tract for about 5 to 7 days. Suppose a sperm has come here on the 10th day. Ovulation takes place on 14th day. Whether that ovum gets fertilized or not?
Fertilizers.
Yeah.
Fertilize.
Jyoti, are you hearing me? So, woman gets contact to the man on a 10th day. Let us say that on 10th day, then she will come in contact with the man. And sperms, of course, they have not gone for any family planning. Sperms are introduced into the vagina. Now, ovulation takes place on 14th day. But the sperm can remain alive, for 7 days. So at that time, it will come in contact with the ovum, and that woman gets likely to be fertilized. Or if the ovum, whatever that is released on 14th day, it can remain alive for about 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. It can remain alive. So, even all the sperm is introduced on any day, say 13th, like that, the ovum will be remaining there. So for another few days, there is chance that the sperm can fertilize. So therefore, to be on the safer side, always it is considered from 10th to 20th, one should prevent coming in contact with the man, and this is called wet test day, and it is also called fertile period. And after 21 to 28 or 30, it is infertile. If the woman comes in contact with man during that time, it is a dry day. She is less likely to get a fertilizer or she get a pregnancy. I hope you understood this.
Yes, sir.
But what happens is that I will tell about a little bit more about this when I take some additional class for this particular period. But this is what you know, that this sentence you must know. It is said 10 to 17, but also sometimes we refer it to 10 to 20. Okay, so this is the most dangerous period if at all any girl or any woman does not want to get a pregnancy. Understood? Clear? Now, you have another method, what is called withdrawal method, also known as coitus interruptus. What is this withdrawal method or coitus interruptus? Now, penis is introduced into the vagina. You know, penis, it should get erected. In a sexually excited man, penis becomes a solid. It becomes solid, rod-like structure, and this is moved inside the vagina. Okay, and this, when a man realizes that the semen is coming out from where it is stored, where the semen is stored prior to mating, I have told already. Where it is stored, where the sperms get for motility, it is stored epididymis. So in this epididymis, the semen will be in a stored condition. So whenever a man puts the penis into the vagina, when he moves this penis to and fro, now when he gets erected, sudden contraction of the muscles, it makes this semen to come out from the epididymis. A boy will come to know that yes, the semen has started coming out from the epididymis. Immediately, he has to withdraw the penis. He has to take back the penis from the vagina. He has to take back the penis from the vagina. Okay, from the vagina. So this is what is called coitus interruptus. It's another method which the male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina just before ejaculation so as to avoid insemination. Just before ejaculation, that is coming out of the semen, so as to avoid insemination. To avoid insemination means introduction of the semen into the female genital tract is called insemination. Insemination. Okay, this is what you come across. This is what you see. And this is withdrawal or coitus interruptus. Coitus interruptus. Right? Coitus interruptus. Right? So, I hope you understood this. Clear? But it is very risky. Very risky. Why it is very risky? If at all there is just a delay in the withdrawal, even if the semen falls outside the vagina, this semen, having sperm, may enter in and chances of herself becoming pregnant is more. I hope it is clear. Understood? Now, understood, Prithviraj? Kumar?
Yes, sir.
Kumar, are you there? So, taking up the next one, lactational amenorrhea. What is this lactation amenorrhea? Lactation means it is a period during which a mother is actually feeding the baby. Actively feeding the baby with the mother milk. Lactation amenorrhea is absence of menstruation. Whenever a woman is actually feeding her baby with the breast milk, that is the lactation period, she will not come across with the menstruation. At that time, she will not get menstruation. That is, menstruation is absent. Lactation amenorrhea method is based on the fact that ovulation and therefore the cycle do not occur during the period of intense lactation following parturition. Intense lactation. Intense lactation means mother is feeding the baby with the fully breast milk, no artificial milk. If a woman is feeding the baby with the full breast milk without going for any outside milk, at that time she will not get menstruation. When she is not getting menstruation means there is no ovulation. When there is no ovulation, means that there is no menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is not occurring. Ovulation is not there. When the ovulation is not there, even the sperms come there, it cannot fertilize the womb because womb is not there. This is what is called a lactation amenorrhea. Therefore, as long as the mother breastfeeds the child fully, it is important, fully, chances of conception are almost nil. She will not get conceived. But remember, however, this method has been reported to be effective only up to a maximum period of 6 months after the parturition or childbirth. Understood? Clear? Is it clear? Kumar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Prithviraj, clear?
Yes, sir.
Diti, Rakesh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But sometimes what happens, sometimes it happens. Now, let us think that a woman has gone to her, where she'll go for the first delivery. Diti, woman goes where? To her mother's place. Am I right?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Mother's place. Okay. Now, what will happen? She has gone to her mother's place to have the first delivery. Okay. Sometimes what happens? Her husband comes to see the baby and her after the baby is born. And this mother, being the ex-biology student, she'll explain all this to the husband, lactation amenorrhea and all, and she'll tell her husband that nothing happens, even if at all they get into sex without any family planning. Now let us see that man has come in contact with that woman during this lactation amenorrhea period, and he goes for sex without any family planning. And he returns to his working place. Generally, a husband will be somewhere away. But within another 2-3 months, he will get a call from his wife. Please come immediately. Then when they go to doctor will tell, yes, congratulations, you are going to become father. I hope you understand my point. Do you think?
Yes, sir.
This is what? This woman who has gone for the first delivery, before coming back to her husband, she will get a second baby also. Second baby. Even anyone is there with only 1 year age gap. One sister is there in the 10th one, and another sister in 11th standard, or one in the 9th and another 10th. If there is 1 year gap between the two baby, what might happen? Failure of lactation amenorrhea might have happened. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So don't ask any one of you. If at all any one of you have sister or brother, immediately in the next class, okay? And both you and me both may get the scoldings. I hope it is clear, Rakesh.
Yes, sir.
As no medicines or devices are used in this method, side effects are almost nil. Chances of failure are also high. Understood? So one cannot take it guaranteed that 6 months is 100% safe. Sometimes it will not be safe. That's what I said. When she comes in contact with her husband, it results in second pregnancy. I hope you have understood this point. Prithviraj. Prithviraj,
Yes, sir.
are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In the barrier methods, ovum and sperms are prevented from physically meeting with the help of barriers. Barriers are some sort of hindrances. Such methods are available for both males and females. Now we are explaining barrier methods. You'll be asked in the board examination, write short notes on the lactation amenorrhea, or for 1 mark or 2 mark, what is withdrawal method, or what is coitus interruptus, or you may be asked, what is natural method, periodic abstinence. So all this you must know for your board examination also, right? Now, barrier method, it prevents the sperm and ovum coming in contact with each other. It prevents the sperms meeting with the ovum. Such methods are available for both males and females. Condoms are barriers made up of thin rubber. Always ask a question. It is made up of what? Thin rubber or latex sheet that are used to cover the penis in the male or vagina in the female or cervix in the female. Remember, there are male condoms and female condoms. It is used by both male and female just before coitus so that ejaculated semen would not enter into the female reproductive tract. This can prevent conception. So, semen gets collected in the condom itself. It will not come into the female genital tract. Right? Nirod is a popular brand of condom for the male. Use of condoms has increased in the recent years due to its additional benefit of protecting the user from contracting STDs and AIDS. Therefore, you might have heard the advertisement, use one, benefit 3. Use one, Nirod is usual. But what are the benefits of 3? 3 benefits are there. It prevents this fertilization, coming of the sperms in contact with the ovum. It prevents STDs and it prevents AIDS also by the user. So, if at all one is using Nirod, no doubt the woman is not becoming pregnant. 2, it avoids the sexual transmitted disease to get spread between the sexual partners, or it prevents the AIDS to get spread between the sexual partner. So, one use, 3 benefit. Both male and female condoms are disposable, can be self-inserted, and thereby gives the privacy to the user. Self-inserted means one can put to themselves, right? Therefore, it gives the privacy. Only user will be knowing that they are using. So this is what you have. The male condom, it is open here, closed here, and at the time when the semen comes, it gets collected here, right? But even if at all one uses the condom, one should be very much careful. If some semen comes out, gets spilled out during its sexual act, that is sufficient that these sperms can enter into the uterus. And this is what you have. The female condom, it is open here, and it is closed end here, closed end on the other side. It is closed here. Okay. So it is a condom for female. So both male and female condoms are available. Now, we have another one. What is known as intrauterine devices. So here, diaphragms, cervical caps, and walls are also barriers made up of rubber that are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. Remember, very good example, very important examples. Diaphragms, cervical caps, and walls are also barriers made up of rubber that are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. They also prevent conception by blocking the entry of sperms to the cervix. So, the sperms will be there. Sperms will be introduced into the vagina. but they cannot cross the uterus. They cannot, because there will be blocking of the entry of sperms to the cervix region. They are reusable. These diaphragm, cervical caps and walls are reusable. And in addition to this, spermicidal creams, jellies, foams are usually used along with these barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiency. So whenever the diaphragms, cervical caps and walls are used, the user applies these creams. Spermicidal cream means sperm killing cream. Spermicidal means the one which kills the sperm. Or jellies which also kills the sperm. Or foams, all these are spermicidal which kill the sperm. So by chance, if at all some defect is there, if the sperms enter there, the user wants a double safety. If the first of all, they cannot cross these diaphragms, cervical caps and walls, but applying these creams on both the sides of these cervical caps walls or putting at one side, it prevents the contraceptive by another way. So now, if you want to see that all these contraceptives, I shall show you the picture of these contraceptives later, especially its diaphragm, cervical caps and walls. Another effective and popular method is the use of intrauterine devices. This is another one. So the other one, whatever studied, these are all barriers of barriers which are to be used by the females only, women only. Condoms can be used by both male and female. So now you have what is called intrauterine devices. Intrauterine devices are always abbreviated as IUDs. These devices are inserted by doctor or expert nurses in uterus to the vagina. This is an important for 2 marks, sometimes 4 marks question. What is intrauterine devices? 1 mark. What is the intrauterine device, or what is the full form of IUDs? 1 mark question. What is intrauterine devices? Maybe ask for 1 more question. Intrauterine devices. Intrauterine devices are the devices that the doctors or expert nurses they introduce into the female reproductive system. The intrauterine devices are presently available as in the 3 forms they are available. 1, non-medicated IUDs. Example, lips loop, very important, you must remember. Another one, copper releasing IUDs. Example, copper T, copper 7, multilode 375, and hormone releasing IUDs. Example, progesterone, LNG20. All these are very, very important. You may be asked a question for 3 marks or 4 marks. And you must know which are all the non-medicated, which are the medicated. In the medicated, copper releasing and hormone releasing. Copper releasing, CUT, CU7, multilode 375, and hormone releasing IUDs, progesterone, LNG20, these are there. So now let us look into a little bit more about it. This is what is lips loop. It is a non-medicated. It is a non-medicated lips loop. And this is what you have, copper releasing one. It is a copper 7. And you have this copper T, this is copper T. This is also copper T. And this is a copper 7. You can see that it is a 7. And here is the copper metal in that, copper 7. And this is a multilode 375. So all these are copper releasing IUDs. And now let us see what is the specialty of this. This is what is called progesterone, hormone releasing IUD. And this is LNG20, hormone releasing IUD. So IUDs increase phagocytosis, that is engulfing. Phagocytosis is engulfing of solid. Phagocytosis of sperms within uterus. So whenever these IUDs are placed, if the sperms enter there, the sperms will be swallowed by the cells there. Phagocytosis sperms within uterus, and the copper ions released by copper releasing IUDs suppress sperm motility. They suppress, slows down sperm motility and fertilizing capacity of the sperms. So they suppress sperm motility and fertilizing capacity of the sperms. Always ask a question, in what way IUDs work? The hormone releasing IUDs, you have heard about hormone releasing IUDs. This is LNG20 and progesterone. The hormone releasing IUDs, in addition, make the uterus unsuitable for implantation. That is the attachment of the blastocyst in the uterine wall, embedding of the blastocyst in uterine wall, unsuitable for implantation, and the cervix hostile to response, unfriendly, not fertile, hostile, unfriendly to the sperms. IUDs are ideal contraceptives for the females who want to delay pregnancy or to have space between the children. So these are most of the women in India, they go for IUDs in order to avoid or delay pregnancy or in order to have space between one child to another child. It is one of the most widely accepted methods of contraception in India. Of course, introduction of this requires a doctor's help, right? Now coming to the tablets, oral administration of small doses of either progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combinations is another contraceptive method used by the female, right? Oral administration of small doses of either progestogen or progestogen-estrogen. Progestogen is a synthetic form of progesterone. So oral administration means taking through mouth. Administration through mouth. Swallowing. Okay. Is another method. Combination is another contraceptive method used by the female. Right? So contraceptive methods which prevents conception. What is a contraceptive? A contraceptive is the one which prevents conception. They are used in the form of tablets and hence are popularly called pills. Pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days, right? Starting preferably within the first 5 days of the menstrual cycle. So always there will be 21 pills, 21 tablets. So once the menstrual cycle gets over, she starts taking that. The moment it gets over, she'll be ready for menstruation again. After a gap of 7 days, here, during the 4 days of 4 days or 3 days of menstruation, plus another 3-4 days, total 7 days. After a gap of 7 days, during which menstruation occurs, menstruation plus another 3 days, it has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female desires to prevent conception. As long as the woman does not want a baby, she has to continuously take it. Only during 7 days she will stop. So Mala D is one of the common brand that is used by the women in India as a oral pill, right? These oral pills, always ask a question, what they do? The oral pills inhibit ovulation. They prevent. The moment oral pills are taken, they prevent ovulation and implantation. Very, very important. What do? They prevent ovulation and implantation as well as alter quality of a cervical mucus. You must know that inside the vagina, in the cervical region, inside the vaginal canal, it will be always with the mucus. And this mucus is generally, when the sperms enter, they'll be friendly. But now, whatever, they'll be in their proper consistency. But once these tablets are taken, the oral pills are swallowed, they inhibit ovulation, they inhibit implantation, as well as alter the quality of cervical mucus. And here, cervical mucus becomes thick, which is a little bit fluid-like, liquid-like. Now, fluid-like, now it becomes thick, and it prevent and retard entry of sperm. Pills are very effective with lesser side effects and are well accepted by female. Even if it is said a lesser side effect, there will be little bit of side effect. Okay, and generally, rather than pills, these IUDs are mostly liked by mostly preferred by these women in India. So, right here, pills are very effective with a lesser side effect. No, generally, woman who takes these pills, she starts becoming more fatter and fatter. So, are well accepted. Of course, in rural areas and all, they are well accepted. But generally, the IUDs are most preferred than these pills. Saheli, I already told you about that. The new oral contraceptive for the females contain non-steroid preparation. This is very, very important. Non-steroid preparation. It is once a week pill with very few side effects and high contraceptive value. It prevents the conception. So this is with regard to Saheli. Now, you have another one, what is called progestogen alone or in combination with estrogen can also be used by female as injection. So it is not that one has to go for a tablet, one can go for injection or implants. What is that implants? Implants are small, tiny matchstick-like structure which are placed just beneath the skin. Some cut is made and inside it is inserted and then stitch is put. So progestogen alone or in combination with estrogen can also be used by females as injections or implants under the skin. Their mode of action is similar to that of pills and their effective periods are much longer. So these implants or injections are better. Administration of progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combination or IUDs within 72 hours of coitus. Sometimes what happens, whenever the couple, they want to remain without baby, they plan like that. We don't want a baby for another 4 years, 5 years like that. But sometimes they become sexually excited that much at night. At that time they forget this. They just get into the sex without any family planning. Suppose it is the most fertile period. If a woman comes in contact with her husband, now what can be done on that day at the height of this particular sexual urge? If at all husband and wife comes in contact, actually at a most fertile period and most dangerous period, after this coitus gets over, if at all she goes for progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combination tablet or IUDs within 72 hours of coitus, it is found to be very effective as emergency contraceptive. If she takes these tablets or if she takes this tablet, that blastocyst will not get implanted there. Because, after this coitus over, 7 days period is there, 7 days time is there for the fertilized egg to come through the fallopian tube and to get embedded in the uterus. So 7 days time is there. So if she goes for immediately 72 hours after coitus, have been found to be very effective as emergency contraceptive as they could be used to avoid possible pregnancy due to rape or casual unprotected intercourse. This is what I said. Casual unprotected intercourse between the couple. Rape, it is a forcible sexual act on a woman by the male. So this is what one can go for, the introduction of IUDs. That means once the IUDs is introduced the very next day, when this fertilized egg starts coming to the uterus after 7 days, the blastocyst cannot get implanted. That is the concept here. I hope it is understood. Now, these are the implants. These are placed just beneath the skin in the upper arm generally. Surgical methods are also called sterilization, are generally advised for the male and female partner as a terminal method to prevent any more pregnancies. Surgical intervention blocks gamete transport and thereby prevent conception. They prevent conception. That surgical intervention blocks gamete transport. I'll show you how. Thereby, it prevents conception. Conception is that embedding of the blastocyst on the uterine wall. Sterilization procedure in the male is called vasectomy, and in the female, it is called tubectomy. Let us see that. Look here. This is what the vast difference is cut here, and it is ligated. Some stitches put there, and it is first cut, and cut ends are tied. Cuts ends are tied. So even if the sperms are released now, sperms cannot come. They get blocked here. They cannot come out to the penis. And like that, this is vasectomy. And like that, this is a tubectomy. Here, oviduct, fallopian tube is cut and tied. And also, if the ova gets released, it comes here, the sperms cannot go. Sperms cannot fertilize. So this is what we call sterilization techniques. Vasectomy in male and tubectomy in female. In vasectomy, a small part of the vas deferens is removed or tied up through a small incision on the scrotum. Whereas in tubectomy, a small part of the fallopian tube is removed are tied up through a small incision in the abdomen or through vagina. These techniques are highly effective, but their reversibility is very poor, right? So these are the two techniques that we come across. It needs to be emphasized that the selection of a suitable contraceptive method The selection of a suitable contraceptive method and its use should always be undertaken in consultation to qualified medical professionals. It cannot be done by fake doctors. One must also remember that contraceptives are not regular requirements for the maintenance of reproductive health. Contraceptives are not regular requirements for the maintenance of reproductive health. One can be reproductive healthy without going for contraceptive. One can go for lactation amenorrhea. One can go for this calendar method. Abstinence. In fact, they are practiced against a natural reproductive event. These are all against a natural reproductive event, that is conception and pregnancy. Right? One is forced to use these methods either to prevent pregnancy or to delay or space pregnancy due to personal reasons. No doubt, the widespread use of these methods have a significant role in checking uncontrolled growth of population. However, there are possible ill effects like nausea. This is what you have to know. So whenever one is using these tablets, oral pills, or going for the intrauterine devices, there are possible ill effects like nausea, vomiting sensation, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, not bleeding only during this menstrual period, irregular menstrual bleeding, or even breast cancer, though not very significant, should not be totally ignored. Right? So this is what you have to come across. Right? So the always little bit of side effects are there. Best method is abstinence. That is always good. But intrauterine devices also to a certain extent is fine. So now let us look into medical termination of pregnancy. Intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term is called medical termination of pregnancy. It is also called MTP, or simply it is called induced abortion. MTP. That means voluntary one goes to get rid of this pregnancy. Nearly 45 to 50 million MTPs are performed in a year all over the world, which accounts 1/5 of the total number of conceived pregnancy in a year. Obviously, MTP has a significant role in decreasing the population, though it is not meant for that purpose. Actually, medical termination pregnancy is to see if there is any problem with regard to developing a fetus. Yes, okay, one has to go. Or if at all there is any problem to the life, or if at all there is a threat to the life of mother, okay, then one should go. Otherwise, it is not. MTP has a significant role in decreasing population, no doubt, but it is not meant for that purpose. Whether to accept or legalize MTP or not is being debated upon in many countries due to emotional, ethical, religious, and social issues involved in it. Even the married couple, if they don't want, after having one child, if they don't want second child, or after having 2 children, if they don't want a third child, they think several times whether to go for this MTP or not. Generally, it is considered, it is called in Sanskrit, Bruna Hatya Mahapapam. Bruna Hatya Mahapapam. That means getting rid of this or killing this fetus is considered as the greatest sin. So there will be always emotional or sentimental, ethical, religious or social issues involved in it. Therefore, generally, people don't like to get aborted if at all they are not, if they are not prepared for the additional child. So this is with regard to medical termination of pregnancy, right? Government of India legalized medical termination of pregnancy in 1971. Always ask a question, when this MTP got legalized in India, with some strict conditions to avoid its misuse. Such restrictions are all the more important to check indiscriminate and illegal female feticide. Why that it is legalized? No doubt, government is legalized that MTP, but the misuse of this MTP is taking place. That is very dangerous. Generally, if at all one comes to know that the fetus is going to be the female baby tomorrow, they wanted to get rid of that. Such restrictions are all more important to check indiscriminate and illegal female fetishes, which are reported to be high in our country, India. Okay? But the government has legalized MTP in 1971 with certain strict conditions to avoid its misuse. Right? Why MTP? Obviously, the answer is to get rid of unwanted pregnancies, either due to casual unprotected intercourse. Suppose a married couple, the woman, even though she is not willing to become pregnant, she got conceived by mistake, by accident, then she doesn't want to continue that pregnancy. She has to get rid of that pregnancy. Then for them, it is okay. Obviously, the answer is to get rid of unwanted pregnancies, either due to casual unprotected intercourse or failure of the contraceptive used during coitus or rapes. Remember, failure of the contraceptive, very important. Your NCERT book is telling failure of the contraceptive. That means whenever one uses contraceptive, whether it's the Nirod, condom, or any other barriers, or even the interactive devices, there is no 100% guarantee that it prevents conception. Sometimes failure of the contraceptive also take place. Remember? And used during coitus or rapes. MTPs are also essential in certain cases where continuation of pregnancy could be harmful or even fatal either to the mother or to the fetus or both. Sometimes the doctors say continuing the pregnancy may take the life of the mother. So at that time, one has to go for MTP. Or sometimes the baby, 100% it is known that baby is going to be born with all deformities. Then one has to go for MTP. So in either case, one has to go for MTP. So therefore, MTP definitely it becomes important depending upon the relative issues. MTPs are considered relatively safe during the first trimester, that is up to 12 weeks. You know, pregnancy is always divided into first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. Second trimester abortions are much more riskier. Very, very important sentence. Because MTPs are considered relatively safe during the first trimester. Second trimester abortions are much riskier. One disturbing trend observed is that majority of MTPs are performed illegally by unqualified quacks, not doctors. Unqualified quacks, which are not only unsafe but could also fatal too. Another dangerous trend is the misuse of amniocentesis to determine the sex of the unborn child. Frequently, if the fetus is found to be female, it is followed by MTP. This is totally against what is legal. Of course, now you must be knowing that in India, the female population has been drastically come down. For every 1,000 male, there are no 1,000 female. Female population is somewhere between 942 to 932. So already there is a dearth of nearly 50 females for every 1,000 male. And if at all anyone goes further for amniocentesis technique or for MTP, then it is always bad. It is not good for the society. Such practices should be avoided because these are dangerous both for the young mother and the fetus. Effective counseling on the need to avoid unprotected coitus and the risk factor involved in illegal abortions, as well as providing more healthcare facilities could reverse the mentioned unhealthy trend. So we are going to look into sexually transmitted diseases in our next class. Now I'd like to know, do you have any doubts?